The Oakville Public Library Board to order for Thursday, May 20th, 2025. Before we get into the meeting itself, I'm going to read our territorial acknowledgement. The Oakville Public Library is situated on the Treaty Number 14 and Treaty Number 22 treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat and the Haudenosaunee. Oakville is currently home to many different First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Regardless of where we come from, we are all interconnected through the land that we live on, the water that we use, and the air that we breathe. We are committed to a continuous learning journey in allyship. We seek to elevate Indigenous voices and lived experience to cultivate reconciliation in Oakville. Madam Committee Clerk, do we have any regrets today?
We do. Councillor Chisholm.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Chisholm is therefore marked absent. Members of the board, do we have any declarations of pecuniary interest to declare at this time? I am not seeing any. We have our circulated minutes from the previous meeting on February 20th. We have both the regular meeting and the confidential minutes. If somebody is willing, I'd take a motion to approve those minutes. Rod? Rebecca? Yeah. All in favor? It's an inside joke. No, I'll get to you guys later. So those minutes have been approved as circulated. Thank you. We have a number of items on the consent agenda, 3 in fact. The first is Oakville Public Library Key Board agenda items. Number 2 is a health and safety report. And number 3 is the CEO performance evaluation process. Does anybody have any questions or separations on any of these 3 items, or are we prepared to approve the staff recommendations? Seeing no questions, can I get a motion to approve the staff recommendations? Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, I didn't see who else, but Salsa, did you put your hand up?
I didn't, but I'm happy to.
Okay, Mavis, did you put your hand up? Yeah, okay, great, okay. Avis, not Mavis. Okay, so those 3 items have been dealt with. So we're moving on to confidential consent items. There are none. We move to our discussion items. There are 5. We'll start out with the dress code, staff identification dress code and staff identification policy. Tara?
Yeah, so every year we have a list of policies that need to be updated, and so this is the first one, well, not the first one, this is the one for this month. So it is relatively minor updates to this. We did adjust some of the language to bring it in alignment with our inclusion policy, to really speak about making sure that we're an inclusive workplace and maintaining a safe and healthy environment. We also changed to be a little bit firmer for staff identification. So before we had they should, and now they're required to wear identification while they're working both internally and externally. So those are the basic updates for this policy.
Comments, questions, Andrew?
Thank you, Tara. I note that under scope, the revised policy states that this policy applies to all library employees and volunteers. In the policy statement, it mentions volunteers, but subsequently, all references are solely to employees. And I just want to clarify that all of those should be updated to include employees and volunteers.
Okay, we can take a look at that.
Okay. Additionally, the last point reads, employees are expected to wear staff identification at all times when in a physical OPL building or working at off-site locations. I just want to clarify that that's only when they're actively on duty. So breaks or if they're accessing the library as a patron, those times will be excluded.
We can look at fleshing that out, yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all I have.
Thanks, Andrew. Further comments or questions? I have one. With respect to name tags, have you ever had issues with staff being uncomfortable wearing name tags because of the fact that they can be identified by their tags? And
We have had ongoing conversations throughout the year. The information that's contained on the name tag is different depending on your role. For example, managers have their full name, but all staff, and I think supervisors have their full name, but anybody below that just has their first name.
okay. And we haven't heard any expressions of concern by the union or anything on that?
No.
Has this been circulated to the union?
The dress code?
No, the policy, yeah.
Not this specific one.
I'm just wondering, just because, sensitivities now around, our new society, I'm just wondering if anybody would have any concerns about that.
We will find out, but I don't anticipate any, no.
Okay, great, thank you. Further comments or questions before I call for Andrew?
Just to build on that, I might suggest that if there is any individual who's especially uncomfortable for a reason that Chair Noel identified, perhaps they could adopt an in-library name that's different maybe than their actual name, if that would help resolve that. Then there's at least consistency in terms of being able to be recognizable to people using the library.
We can look at that.
Disney World, if you go there and you see somebody's name is Chris from Orlando, that's a fake name generally. Unless your name really is Chris and you live in Orlando, but then maybe they give them a different name. Anything further on this one? Can I get a motion to receive the item for feedback, please? Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Rebecca. All in favor? That's carried. I'm just going to go back and forth all night. Fundraising plan report.
So every year, at the beginning of the year, we do bring the board our fundraising plan for that year. And this just outlines some of the tactics that will be implemented in 2005, as well as just an overview of the 2004, particularly because sometimes what happens with our comprehensive financial report and our fundraising, just based on when funds come in and what they're allotted, they don't always align. So we just wanted to identify how we calculate what we bring in for fundraising, what's financially recognized, what's actual, and then how it impacts. But happy to take questions.
Okay. Are there any questions? Okay, Avis.
Just a comment regarding, I guess, a refresher on the form that was sent at the end of the year in December. I recall that there were some good comments made by Celso and Meredith regarding that form, and I also had a little concern about the credit card information being actually written out on that form, so for payment card industry PCI reasons. So I just thought, given that we're in fundraising mode, that I would just bring that up again, and because I think it was too late to change the form in December. So just wanted to make that point.
No, and some of the improvements that we're making are definitely including the feedback. We're looking at including a QR code along with that. We're probably still going to put out where people can put their credit card information and submit it in, that we do get those back. There is a demographic that does that, that will not use the QR code, so we don't want to exclude them from that piece.
It gives you an issue for PCI that you have to shred immediately.
Yeah, we have that in place, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Chair?
Thank you. First, just a clarification. On page 1, it states the fundraising goal for 2025 is $135,000, and on page 3, the targets total to $137,500. So I just wanted to clarify that that's the true target.
Yeah, we'll go with the higher one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, those numbers do add up to the I checked, so let's keep that in. Okay.
Yeah.
Secondarily, regarding the new central campaign, I'd caution that despite there, obviously being some opportunity for incremental donations, it will not be 100% incremental, and you would probably need to reduce the personal philanthropy portion somewhat to accommodate people directing their intended donations specifically to New Central instead of just a general donation for the year for the library.
Sorry?
Is the New Central campaign beginning before the end of 2025?
So technically, it's soft launched
Oh, yeah. Okay.
already.
Okay. When will we see the strategy for that, by the way?
We can bring it.
Okay. It mentions that
We have brought it.
the team is developing a comprehensive campaign strategy.
Yeah, I'll go back. We did bring our overview for it. We are continuing to adapt out more of the details related to like rooms.
Okay. Okay.
Like if somebody is interested in a collaboration room, if somebody wants the children's area, if somebody wants, so we're working through those and updating that. We had an old list that was quite out of date. And so I know that they've been talking with other libraries and other areas to kind of see what's the going rate for some of those pieces.
Okay. So if I'm, a person who might typically donate $300 to the library in a year, and then I get wind of the New Central campaign, and I decide I want to put my donation to that, I'm probably not going to donate to that and also do my regular 300. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
So just a caution about the ensuring that the targets listed here allow for that, for some crossover with the new central campaign. Does that make sense?
It does, although we don't separate out, I guess we'll have to determine, to my mind, the campaign piece wasn't necessarily the capital campaign, but we can have we'll have a talk and we'll just maybe provide a clearer definition of that, because in the first page, we really identified things like the Give Oakville, not necessarily our internal campaigns, but we can have a conversation about how to report that out.
Okay, it's just a caution so that, no one's disappointed later if something's off. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Meredith, you're next.
Yeah, well, first, it was a good overview, and I appreciate the outline of the what's worked so far, as well as the plan for 2025. I really like the increased focus on some of the high-impact revenue-generating opportunities like sponsorship and philanthropy. Definitely, those are where you can see there's lots of great opportunity, and great to see some ambitious targets there. And I was curious, I saw that campaigns are looking to aiming to more than double to next year, and so I was curious what campaigns that included.
So definitely, every year, and Marcus and Allison behind me can jump in. We've gotten better at the Give Oakville. We've gotten a little bit better of what that ask is and how to interact with that. And I think the Oakville Community Foundation has gotten better in how they manage that every year. And so we have seen some increases in that. Were you thinking the Central was in that campaign? No. So what other? That was mostly the Give Oakville campaign is basically what we're estimating to double.
Okay, yeah, wonderful. And then if I can ask one other question, which was also about the capital campaign. I think you've given us sort of an overview of the central plan, and I was just wondering if it's in the future, if once it's ready, if it'd be possible to bring maybe just even some key milestones for the capital fundraising aspect of the capital campaign would be, I'm sure we'd be interested to see that too.
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
Thanks.
Thanks, Meredith. Further questions? Bill?
I just wanted to say I thought it was great that the Friends of the Library are doing so well. I mean, I'm always worried about that. I don't know why, but keeps me up at night. But no, I thought it was great, and they're exceeding expectations, and I think that was a great sign. So.
Yeah, those book sales. Did anybody go to one of our recent book sales? It tends to be really well attended. The first couple days, the parking lot is filled. There's normally lineups, people waiting to get in because we do have limitations. There was a line all the way through Children's, waiting people for their turn to be able to access the auditorium. So it's fantastic to see that people are so still engaged with print books and just coming and supporting our book sales.
Yeah, well, I think it's good that they're doing it 4 times, and it's so people that can't forget about it. I think it's so that's probably helpful. But
also helps with our storage.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like going there. My wife doesn't like me going there because I bring books home. But anyway, thanks.
Kind of the general idea, actually, but further questions or comments? Not seeing any. I just have one question. The sponsorship of $5,000, who is that for?
That's Amica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
What are they
Amica,
sponsoring?
Pardon?
What are they sponsoring?
The book clubs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So Amica is sponsoring their first, our winter and spring winter book clubs.
How did we get that? Was that did they contact us? Did we go look for them?
That is Allison over there and hitting the streets and talking to different groups and making those connections.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great opportunity
No,
that
it really
I think
is.
we've not been focused on.
We're excited to grow that relationship.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion to receive the report, please, for feedback? Or is this for feedback? Yes, it is. Report received for feedback. Thank you, Meredith. Thank you, Andrew. All in favor? That's carried. Did I do that equitably? Okay, good. Let's make sure. Okay, everybody's favorite topic these days, potentially U.S. tariff impacts.
So everybody aware, there is an ongoing I don't want to say we're in a trade war yet. I feel like we're on the brink.
I'd say it's pretty hot
It's
trade
pretty
war.
hot.
Yeah.
And so we've definitely be keeping an eye on tariffs and tariff impacts. It's definitely been top of mind for the municipality as well. So we have proactively been looking at the current tariffs. What are the impacts? I do have some updates because this is the way it's happening. I wrote this a week ago. We're in a whole new landscape a week later. So we have been notified that the federal government is looking to impose more retaliatory tariffs starting April 2nd, and books, newspapers, and magazines are looking to be included as part of that. They are asking for public feedback on that, so I submitted on behalf of the Oakville Public Library, although members of the public are welcome to do so as well, as I will indicate in an email out to all of you, should you wish to. Make your comments known for that. That is probably the most direct. We're also, to the best of our ability, trying to manage the indirect impacts related to books. For example, a lot of the books printed in the US get their paper from China. So as tariffs evolve, it may be that an item like a book may actually be hit 2 or 3 times before it makes it on our shelves. So we continue to work with our vendors and the publishers on identifying what the risks are and how we can mitigate them to the best of our abilities. I do know that publishers have been stockpiling paper, but eventually that's going to run out. It also, just understanding those broader impacts where particularly Canada and US, where everything is just so integrated. We have seen some success with our vendors, and I give credit to Monica for this, having some really good conversations where instead of importing some of our equipment through the US, that they're importing it into Canada. Just makes it easier. We're still working out some of the logistics because that's new for some of the vendors, but it does indicate that a lot of vendors are willing to have these conversations and are looking to assist because they recognize the challenges, particularly, I think, for public entities with limited budgets about what that impact could be and how we can kind of mitigate that. One of the key concerns for me initially was, and I've indicated in here, was the shelving for 16 Mile, but that is Canadian steel, manufactured in Canada, so we were quite relieved with that. Some of the other equipment is U.S. company based, but manufactured in Europe, and those are those ongoing conversations about how transit looks like and how it's crossing what borders and when. It'll continue to be a topic that we monitor, and I'll provide updates as we know. Some of them are going to be easier to take into account when doing our budget planning, whereas others that are either upstream or further downstream are a bit more challenging. But likely more to come, depending, although unlikely not to change, when we talking about the 2026 budget in June.
Okay, thank you. Comments or questions? You don't want to talk for hours about tariffs? Okay. Can I get a motion to receive the information, please? Thank you, Avis. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to go over the side. Rebecca and. Oh, okay. Well, I'll go with Rebecca and Avis. We'll split the.
It's a good jump shot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Halton Information Providers Update. That's why Marcus is here.
Although Marcus is also responsible for fundraising.
True.
So he's got 2.
True. The man with 2 hats.
So we do like to bring the board a separate update related to the Halton Information Providers, which provides the community services database to Halton. And so Marcus and Monica worked together to write this report, just to kind of give an overview that's a little bit separate from the performance metrics and the comprehensive financial into one place, just to kind of allow the board to really see how that department and area is going. You'll see that we've had some successes in some areas. We've seen some challenges in others. I particularly wanted to just point you to the information about the info pods, because that came up earlier this year about questions about now that the IRCC grant is winding down. I think it ends the end of this month. But we have had interest, at least initially, from other parties who may want an info pod and how we would support that. So I did provide information about how we are planning for that in here. And I'm happy to take questions.
Questions also?
So in the appendix, you provided the detailed costs of the various components of those pods, right?
Correct.
Installation and ongoing maintenance. So my question is about the ongoing maintenance, because obviously installation, we don't have to incur for the 10 units that are already in place, correct?
Correct.
So the
Yeah.
question is, for the maintenance, the $2,750 per unit, so two-part question, is it per month or per year? And is it in budget?
So that would be per year, and that would be an external cost. Not necessarily what we're paying internally, because some of that would be provided by our staff. So for example, some of the troubleshooting, providing statistics, some of that is through a third party, but some of that is also supported in staff. So that is more along the lines of if Jeff wanted to have one at film.ca, just for an example, that would be an annual cost for them.
This is what we would charge?
Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, I get the point. Yeah, okay. Further questions or comments? Andrew?
Yeah, just in the report, I love the level of detail. Just on page 6, there's a pie chart. I struggled a little bit to sort of grasp, and then I looked through some of the. I actually went online and looked at some of the categories and so on, and kind of worked through it a bit. But I wonder if next time you bring this report, if there's another way maybe to look at displaying those data. Just it's a little tricky to intuit what's going on with the pie chart.
No, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, further comments or questions? Not seeing any. Can I get a motion to receive the information, please? Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Celso. All in favor? That's carried. CEO update.
So just some project updates for you. We did find out this week that there has been a shift in our anticipated opening date for 16 Mile. We're now anticipating that we will open that facility in February of 2026. Last month, we had anticipated that it would still be late fall of 2025, but the contractor had a really good review, talked to all the trades, and they feel pretty confident that we will get substantial completion by November, and then it takes about 2 months for us to move in, recognizing that December is in there, which is always tends to be a challenging month. So we are anticipating opening in February of 2026. What date that exact is, more information to come. We're also starting to look at what that official grand opening will look like, and we'll keep the board in the loop and involved in that. The new central update, not a whole lot to update other than the structural work continues. We are looking at a little bit of a delay. We were estimated that work would be done the end of March. Now we're looking more at mid-May. But you will, I think, over the next couple weeks, moving into mid-April, sorry, I'm jumping a month. They're actually doing load bearing. So they're basically trying to figure out whether or not the current structure has the capacity to add a second floor, or what the weight capacity is for the second floor. Because if it was just built where the second floor was offices versus public library use, that's a significant difference. As you can imagine, our collections and our shelving weigh a lot. And so there is no documentation to give us that information. So they're actually building and bringing in a machine and putting that weight in, and then how much it bends is apparently going to tell us how viable we have. So we'll bring more information once we can confirm the structural integrity of the existing building. It doesn't mean that nothing's going on while that's happening. The town also continues to work with Conservation Halton to understand the stable top of bank, not things they cover in library school. So basically, because there's the back of the parking lot to the back of the facility, and then there's the street, and then there's 16 Mile Creek, that there is concerns about the erosion of that space. So we can't go all the way back to the road. There is a top of bank that we have to be limited with, and so we're having conversations with Conservation Halton about what that looks like. The newspaper digitization project, I'm excited to say that the material was picked up from the Woodside branch, although probably not as excited as the Woodside staff were, to have it picked up on Monday. So the next step is for the material to be assessed. Hopefully it is all viable, and then the digitization process will start, and we'll continue to provide updates on all of that. I am expecting to bring the board a report on the public-facing piece of that, kind of a follow-up to our previous discussions at some point in Q2. At Trafalgar Urban Core South, Brant Haven continues to be occupied with their site process with the town. Thank you. And so I did reach out to Ryan Maynard, who is the realty lawyer at the town, who is working through the agreement. And there has been the beginnings of a conversation again. So he was hoping to have a conversation with them. He had given them the latest copy, and they were now compiling and hoping to get back their latest comments on the agreement. So I will let you know how that goes. As I indicated in the report, one of our most anticipated events or programs or initiatives of the year is the Seed Library. That launched earlier this month for all those eager beavers who want to start their growing season. We also do a number of programs that relate to growing and seeds throughout the spring as well. So we did have a really successful March break. I'm highlighting two of the sessions of many sessions that went on. But the slime science that happened at White Oaks was a resounding success. It was great because it apparently brought in people who weren't necessarily regulars at White Oaks. We had our youth library leader volunteers and the branch staff all working together to put this on. And from all accounts, it was a really fun event. We also had Mandarin Storytime. This picture is from Glen Abbey, but the one that I'm referencing happened at Woodside, where they welcomed 6 families. We are seeing some really great responses to our non-English story times, and so we are definitely looking to grow those. And due to the popularity of here, Woodside will now start having them on a regular basis. Up to that point, it had mostly been in our northern branches. So the board is aware that we have the Band Book Tower art installation at Central. If you haven't stopped by to see it yet, you definitely should. We're seeing a lot of pickup on social of people sharing it. It's definitely a fun experience. The artist, Kelly McRae, has had to come back a couple times because kids have tried to get in it and have definitely tried to move the books around, which is lovely. And so a follow-up event to that is we're doing an artist talk where he's going to come and talk about where that idea came from. It went through a number of different iterations to reach its current state, and so that will take place on April 9th at Central.
Were there any negative reactions to that from members of the public?
I haven't been informed, not that we've seen through social or from staff, branch staff. So.
Great. Questions for Tara? Celso.
2 sets of questions. First is about the 16-mile delay.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do to our budget?
So I did have a conversation with the town treasurer about that. The increase that we asked for this year is automatically integrated into our base budget. So that isn't the $310,000 that automatically gets rolled over into our base budget for 2026. Okay. Because it relates to hiring and the staff, the full realization of it will happen in 2026. We will see a significant increase, but we're not anticipated for it to be a specific, an issue in terms of the budget ask.
But we don't get to spend it this year on something else, do we?
So I think that'll be ongoing conversations. I have asked town finance to split our surplus into 2. What is our normal surplus and what is a surplus that's related to the funding from 16 Mile? Whether or not the board wants to make a case that we should be using that fund in other ways, that would be up to the board. But I did want to make sure that the board was aware of what is a normal surplus and then what is directly related to a delay in opening that facility.
Thank you. Second question is about the emergency management exercises on the report. So how intense is this exercise? Do we actually stop computer systems at a certain branch? Is it a tabletop type of?
It's a tabletop exercise.
So is there a report that came out of it with learnings and things to remediate?
That's what we're hoping for. So the town does this on a regular basis with all of the directors that they run scenarios for us once or twice a year. And so what I'm doing is actually taking that idea, using FIRE's incident support staff to run it for the library leadership around our cybersecurity response plan. So the idea being that our cybersecurity response plan is probably, I would think, 75 to 80% completed. So let's test it. The deputy fire chief is going to support that. She has the plan. She has a scenario that I've provided for her. Town ITS has agreed to participate. The idea being that we're gonna put the plan to test, and then we're gonna update it with learnings based on a tabletop scenario.
So is there going to be like a person, a neutral person, is not one of the stakeholders, just there to sort of observe and say, okay, this didn't go so well, and that doesn't go so well? Because that's how we learn, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It'd be very interesting for us to find out
We can do a
if you're willing
follow-up,
to
for
share.
sure, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Further comments or questions? Meredith and then Andrew. Oh, and I think Rod. Yeah.
Yeah, just a follow-up question on the new central branch. So sounds like mid-April when they do this load-bearing test is important. But should it go forward, is there already do the architects already have a plan in place or like a design, I guess, for the library? And if it passes that test and the bank, et cetera, will the next step be then the architect will then like move forward and get feedback on their proposed design?
Yeah, there is a draft design that we have that we were scheduled to bring to the board back in February. And so if we get the all good, you'll probably see that. I don't know if we can turn it around for April, but we may have to call a special board meeting because I don't want to delay too long for it, but it makes it a lot easier because we do have that. We probably just need to tweak it in a couple new ways. If that isn't the case, that becomes a different question.
Okay, fair enough, thanks.
Thanks. Next up is Andrew.
Thank you. Sorry if I missed it. Was there an update on Palermo at this time? It was mentioned briefly in your report on the agenda package.
Yeah, so the only that was related to, I had promised the board a Q1 update on the future of the temporary 16-mile branch. It's not coming in Q1. I'm anticipating that will come in Q3 when I have more information on Palermo.
Okay, so there's nothing new for Palermo. Okay.
No.
Just in terms of the relocation, I know there are obviously, there are a lot of discussions going on. I just want to advocate for Bronte and suggest that as they're looking at the redoing the Inner Harbor area around the Metro Marine building, that might be an interesting and really useful spot for the temporary facility.
My understanding is that's federal land.
It is.
Yeah. It's federal?
It's federal.
Okay. So what do we own? Because we own stuff down there, don't we?
We own part of it, and the federal government owns the rest.
Oh, and we lease it. Okay. All right. That's it. Thank you.
Anything further? Oh, I'm sorry, Rod. My neck just can't turn.
Andrew stole my Palermo question, so I have one last one on Central. Is there any chance that in April we might also hear back on the asbestos situation that was going to be looked at for the
So the
limestone
asbestos
facing?
remediation is complete. The asbestos has been removed from the building.
Okay, but I think last time we heard that was for the internal pipes and such as that, and there was the bigger question of the limestone front piece that was found to have some asbestos in it. That's also been taken care of?
I'll have to follow up. My understanding, I was told that the asbestos remediation was complete. You don't know? Yeah, I'll follow up.
Okay, thanks.
Further questions on the CEO's report? Not seeing any. Okay. Look for motion to receive the CEO's update. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Rebecca. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, members of the board, next is confidential discussion items. We don't have any, so pass on that. Is there any new business to bring before the board tonight? We already did. Yeah. Any new business tonight? Any announcements, birthdays? No? Recipes? No? Okay. Okay, moving on then. We are going to, I lost my page. I indicate that our next meeting is, what is the date of the next meeting? Thank you. April 16th is our next meeting? 17th. Do I hear 18? 18? Going once, going twice? 17th, okay. Okay. So April 17th is our next board meeting, and seeing that there's no further business and we've completed our agenda tonight, I look for a motion to adjourn this meeting. Thank you, Rebecca, or Meredith, and seconded by Rod. All in favor? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your time and attention.